Who's going fishing Sunday?
I am. Let's go.
Let's go.
I am.
I'm in.
What? Wait. Can you put that cat down?
Yeah. The cat's in.
I was trying to be a Bond villain. I apologize.
Yeah. It's warm by this fire, Buck.
We're not even in the fire. We need to jump in the current.
We got to cool off in the current.
I just want everyone to know, I mean, we say it all the time. You have 7 best friends when you tune into us every week.
And it's wild because we used to say that, but now it's so real.
And it was just a real existential morning, guys.
God, existential.
Did you short drift them?
Well,
That's a yes.
That's what the Canadians say, no bueno.
No bueno.
If there is a traditional Canadian saying, no bueno.
Welcome back, guys. You are listening to the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. You're in the current. So I was waiting to have dinner with Will to hear all about this epic adventure that him and his wife partaked in. However, I couldn't wait. I had to come up and pick his brain. And what better way to do it than to hear about this journey on the podcast? But
yeah.
who we get to here? Who's on me?
I'm
Left.
Steve.
I'm Will.
And I'm still wishing I was in Harlingen, Texas.
No.
Hey, everybody, it's Miss Leanna.
I saw the pictures.
Oh, it was fantastic. Don't even know where to start.
I didn't see any of it. Where were you?
We were in Harlingen, Texas, which, if you were adventurous, is about a 10-mile drive from the Mexico border.
No kidding.
And about another 10-mile drive from the Gulf of Mexico. So as about as South Texas as one can get.
It's really funny because they're just like, as the crow flies, you know.
Exactly. Every direction is as a crow flies.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
and every road is farm to market road A, farm to market road 7, farm to market road 24.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was God's country for sure.
So you're close to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, you got a beautiful sea breeze. It's also below sea level, so there were times where, like at sunset and at sun up, it smelled a little tidal, which was great.
That's cool.
Yeah, and just a wonderful tropical / desert climate. All farmland, all ranch land, populated with occasional windmill farms, Cool. But I mean, you're talking the land that, industry forgot.
Yeah. So you were down there to fish then, I take it.
I was going to say, tell the listener, why in the world would you go there? What'd you do?
Well, I guess what was it? 3 or 4 months ago, we hosted Jeremiah Doughty of From Field to Plate.
Oh, I love that guy.
Wasn't that a fantastic episode?
Oh,
if you can go back in our back catalog, that is worth it.
Yes, it is.
And you guys let me join. Thank you, because there's a wild game chef. I would have probably muscled my way.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, and we were talking about how the reason he got into hunting was how he had developed this beef allergy, and he wanted to just be closer to the processing of his own meat.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, and harvesting wild game was the only way he could ingest red meat, but he was a little concerned with butchering and the care and process that wild game, so he just decided to do it.
They couldn't mix. I mean, a lot of times when you take your deer to a processor, they're cutting the burger with other,
That's a good point.
Even the stuff in the equipment, right?
Usually get a lot more burger back than you normally would.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And your sausage might be cut with.
Yeah, they're just putting beef burger in with it. So it's kind of, he couldn't have any of that.
So he was going full tilt to do 100% himself at that point.
At that point, yeah. And he just perfected these tips and tricks for butchering. The average, he was telling us these stats and statistics. By the way, Jeremiah, if you're listening, you're the smartest cat that I think we've ever spoken to. There's the vast knowledge of, I have 2 master's degrees, so I kind of speak with authority on this one.
Sure.
He's exponentially smarter than I. He just there's so much in there, and he can like his CPU can kind of access it and bring it to the front. And he says,
"It's the beard.
It is the beard."
I wish
and the spotting scope. He's able to see the future.
Nice.
He pulls up this statistic. He said, a really good butcher is going to average about 35 to 40 pounds of waste.
Right.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, that seems great. I get more than
spine,
half.
skull,
and I get more than half.
Just like on a deer.
His technique averages about 4 pounds
of
waste. Yeah, absolutely. And that includes bones, skeletal structure, everything. So a little bit, sort of towards the end of the podcast, he said he runs this from field to plate 101 class in Texas.
I remember that, yeah.
And he said it's very exclusive. We run 3 classes, but we only have 14 seats. And Will interjects, and he's like, "You mean 12 seats?"
Yeah. He meant it.
And I looked at him and I said, "Happy anniversary!" And really, that's sort of how we run our marriage. That's literally all it takes. Like that was the end of the discussion. And I think I set a timer like on my calendar to remind me when the class like opened up to be sold.
It was like the next day, I think, wasn't it?
I think you're right. See, it was very close.
But let me tell something to people that don't know Miss Leanna as well. Maybe if you didn't listen to the back catalog, as much as we are addicted to hunting and fishing, it's the outdoors in general. We wake up and, even if our day jobs, that's where our brain is. We're outside. Stevie goes inside and, he wilts till he gets outside. Leanna is as addicted to cooking.
That's right.
And not just like cooking, like coming home and cook, like
gourmet
perfection cooking at its finest. So when she got to go see this guy, you were like two shooting stars that collided that were meant to be. It was
literally the perfect vacation for our marriage.
Exactly.
Because of 3 parts. There was hunting.
Other than the guy was like the perfect cooking match for you.
Exactly.
Will, I'm not picking on you, but we got to start cooking. Because
Will did cook.
No,
Did you cook?
Oh, he did.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in.
He absolutely did.
It got a little scary. He doesn't look unlike me.
That's what I was wondering.
The saving grace here is that he's got about 6 inches on Will. That's like the saving height wise.
But he's like 15 years older than you, so you're good.
No.
I didn't mean. I'm just picking Will. I just am saying that Leanna is addicted to cooking.
Yes.
Like if you haven't followed her New Year's Rezzies, you've missed out.
Yeah, for the past 5 years, a brand new recipe a week.
Yes.
For the past 5 years.
So just so people caught up, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So we signed up, and it was like we said, it was the perfect vacation for us and our marriage because it was in 3 parts. It was hunting, and then harvesting, and then cooking. And the harvesting part is really where Will and I's loves collide. So I know a lot of you know that I love hunting aquatic life, but I am not at the point where I personally am ready to harvest a mammal, which is okay.
Sure.
I support everybody else. And after the shot, that's really where I start to shine, is the processing. And I mean, he calls me, I don't care how late he's taken a deer. I just get so excited. Like I clean every surface off in our kitchen, and I pull out the vacuum sealer and the meat grinder, and I sharpen the knives, like waiting for him to get home. Cause I can't wait.
You're ready
to see what it looks like. How big are the legs, but
you also love to
the
go
back
hunting.
straps. I'll sit in a blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I will do anything but take the shot. So,
gotcha.
Well, and that's now. I mean, we bridged,
that's now.
Because of this course, you were able to kind of connect some more dots, maybe get out of your comfort zone just a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think this is the first time I participated in the process completely from end to end. I think the closest we came of me doing that before was your antelope hunt when we were out in Wyoming, but I sat out the butchering part of that. So, the butchering is really where our 2 loves come together. And then the cooking is more indexes on my side of the event. So,
so when the deer usually shows up, it's quartered. It's already.
Exactly. It comes like to me. Or when we were growing up, they were hung.
Yeah.
So,
but that's not the case where you went. You guys did this end to end.
Literally end to end. Like our waste, he estimated our waste on our 90-pound doe was probably 4 pounds, and the 95-pound doe was probably 5 pounds of waste.
So you and Will got to fly to South Texas.
That's right.
And I thought this was just a cooking class. You actually got to go hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hunting. You started with the hunt.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, if we tell you really what it started with was marksmanship, ranch safety, and a tour of this property. So
I did see that. You guys got to shoot a what was that rifle you got to shoot?
Beautiful Ruger. Yeah, it was a beautiful
6.5 Creedmoor.
Oh, I like that rifle.
But I was kind of excited. Now, I'm going to back up. Like, there's so many things that we can cover about this, but I want to back up.
This is the current part 1 of 5?
Probably, right? It's from Field to Plate 101.
It's right.
And one of the things that I we can go into a place, and I know this is going to sound weird, but if we take all of our stuff, we can go into a place and completely overwhelm the scene. This is what Rutten River,
right.
If there's more than one of us, or, you know what I mean, and we can kind of take over a joint. And I didn't want to do that. And we got a list of things that, what to bring and this and that. And it was open. Like, he's really super cool and he's going to talk to you on your level. But for me, I wanted to go and just be a beginner. I have.
So you didn't take lots of stuff with you.
Oh my word! Not only did he not take lots of stuff with him, Catfish, but he couldn't sleep the night before. I've never seen this man. He was restless like a bear. He's like, "What am I forgetting? I gotta pack this. What's going on?" And I was like, "Babe, let's just walk through."
How many bags did he take?
Do you have? Let's start with everything closest to your body. Do you have underwear and socks? Yes. Okay. Do you have pants and shirts? Yes. Okay. Do you have boots? Yeah. Okay, then we're good. And he's like, "No, we are not good."
That's it.
You were torn up.
Yeah, I took I took my carry-on.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not like us.
No.
And we're sorry, Cable. We did not take snake boots. We regret that.
Cable Smith,
we regret that.
Yeah.
Cable
if you guys remember, he was like, I said, "But I don't have snake boots." And he's like, "Dude, don't come down here without snake boots."
And he was absolutely right. I mean, everyone cash out clerks were wearing
sneakers.
That's their sneakers. Okay, so here's why. So we get there to this beautiful ranch, the Leroy Gonzalez Ranch. It is run by his son Leroy Jr. right now, who is Leroy. If you are listening, we love you so much. Like your ranch, your facility, your hospitality was 5-star.
Your family.
And I have been to 5-star hotels in Dubai where I've been given my own concierge, and it was nothing like the family and service that we got at this ranch. So we arrive to the ranch, and we walk into this house is such an understatement.
Yeah.
It's like this mansion where we're all staying on this ranch. And he said, "Do you want to see the snake we just harvested from our property?" I was like, sure. I mean, I love snakes. We eat snake. My father harvested a snake a couple of years ago. We ate it for Christmas Day. It was great. He rolls this snake skin out, and it's 8.5 feet
No, it ain't.
long with
Rattlesnake.
21 rattles. And he goes, "Why don't you lay on the floor? I'll lay it beside you and we'll take a photo." So I did. And he unrolls 2 other snake skins to join the 3rd snake skin that are all longer than 8 feet.
Holy mackerel.
It was at that point in
crazy.
time where I looked at Will. I'm like, "You will watch every single place you step your foot down.
Yeah.
Like grandpa
Every
snakes.
Single solitary place you lay a foot.
Yeah.
You will scan it first before that foot touches yours."
They sound like they can bite through snake boots. Holy
It
mackerel.
was scary.
And the thing he said,
yeah.
when I said, "Oh my God, we don't have snake boots," he goes, "Baby girl, don't worry. If they strike at you, they're going to hit your hip." Oh,
they're
so
8
you're
feet
good.
tall.
just like,
Whatever.
how's your Monday? How's your Monday? Have you seen the paper yet? The snake's going to hit your hip. So he takes us out to the range. They have a beautiful 100-yard range set up. And the guns are already there. And Leroy just wants to be sure that you're able to get a grouping to take an ethical shot.
Sure.
So he looks at me and he's like, "You're first." And I was like, "All right,
Let's do this."
Leroy and Jeremiah, Jeremiah set up spotting scopes, and they all just are just really cool and patient.
And by the way, they all knew I wasn't going to take the deer, but they didn't treat me that's why I was first to shoot.
True sportsman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, hey, you know what? You might not be shooting a deer, but this is a humongous ranch with big animals. I need to know you can handle a gun.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
You know? So I sat down and he walked me through a little bit of safety, and he's like, I want you to take the safety off and put your finger on the trigger. And in my mind, like I can hear my dad, you never have your finger on the trigger when you move the safety. So I put my index finger stretched out on the barrel of the gun like you're taught.
Sure.
And I popped off the safety, and he looks at me, he goes, "That's exactly right."
Yes.
And I think at that moment in time, he knew, okay,
Daddy
this girl,
taught you right.
Yeah, this girl knows what she's doing. And I had a tight group. It was all on the paper. And then Will went right after me and literally Robin Hooded 3 bullets, one right after the other.
I actually got a picture of his target.
Amazing
I thought there was only one hole in it.
Only one hole.
Nice shooting, Will.
Nice shooting for a gun you never touched. Great job.
Yeah, it's cool. And I mean, they're all. So that's the other thing. Like, I didn't have my guns. I didn't have anything. You just show up.
You're slightly out of your comfort zone, or
Now you could,
way out of your comfort zone.
You were offered to bring your guns, or you could have shot archery, but Will made the awesome decision that this was more about the butchering and the cooking.
Yeah.
So let's just harvest animals quickly and ethically and get to the part where we want to learn.
Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, like it's about the whole process. And,
Fair.
And,
yeah, but at the time.
Yeah, I just wanted, but I wanted to see what this whole thing, and thing was about. And like I said, I'm just a new guy. You know what I mean?
This is great.
Yeah.
Well, it
was crazy.
The firearm that he gave you was quite the firearm
Beautiful.
to take. Yeah, it's a flat shooting, extremely fast. Did you guys at the rifle range? You shooting it at 100, 200 yards? What were you shooting
We
at?
were shooting it at 100.
Shooting at 100.
It's quite capable of reaching way out there.
And I
It was
think
shot in for 200.
That was
Was
the
it?
big thing that we learned, catfish, was, here at the East Coast, we have a landscape and a terrain in the Appalachian where, like, 100-yard shot is a stretch for us.
Unless you're hunting a farmland, 100-yard shot is a long shot.
That's a long shot
It is.
here, right? In good old PA. There, I mean, Jeremiah's a West Coast hunter. He's comfortable at 300.
Yeah, that's a 100-yard shot to him.
Yeah, no problem. So, that was a big learning for us, was how different the coasts are.
Yeah, the guys that train for that it's so much different. And I don't mean to sidetrack, but our friend Todd Weichert that was on the show just killed a bull at 900 yards and almost 20 mile an hour winds.
Wow.
Held 5 feet off his target with a spotter to kill that bull.
I mean, that's when you take the shot and have time to pick up your binos to watch it actually land.
But when you're not used to shooting past 100 yards, and I only heard bits and pieces of this, and I heard maybe one of the shots was a good bit past that. Even if you go to 150 or 200 when you've only shot 100, can be a little bit stressful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was definitely that. Absolutely. I had opportunity at 250, and with that gun and that scope and that place, the shooting rest that was in the blind, like everything was there to do a long range shot.
And even Jeremiah was encouraging you, but I was so proud of you. You just weren't comfortable taking that shot, and I was so proud.
I'm more than proud of you, because that goes right along with archery. If you're not comfortable with a shot, don't take it.
I've shot 200. I've shot 200 plus, but I don't practice that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Have I done it? Yes, but I don't do it to kill. I do it for target.
Very proud of you.
So I, inside of, I did stretch it out, and and like I said, that gun was everything it needed to be.
Yeah.
The first one was 175, and the other one was 135.
Mm-hmm.
Both the ones that you guys harvested was nice shot. And I don't mean to keep rushing you, but I know it's an hour podcast, so I want to get.
So we took a tour of the property and saw some beautiful Nilgai. We saw some
scimitars,
a ton of whitetail access
What's
deer.
a scimitar? I don't even know that.
Beautiful African animal.
Big white, but it looks
It's
like
one of
a
those half horse, half man.
Well, that's what I was picturing.
Centaur. That's right, Stevie.
But it's got the big sweeping like back horns like a sable.
Okay.
But they're big white.
And you got to
gigantic,
see those?
Yeah, big white.
I mean, they have
So what a beautiful place to
they
be.
have retention ponds where any kind of waterfowl, doves, anything.
So to take a 101 class is different to like, this is compared to like sitting in a college basement listening. I mean, you guys like went to Mars or someplace beautiful. Like this place is not typically
It looked like Africa.
a place to go to class.
Right.
It sounds like paradise.
Yeah, it was one of those trips where we kept saying, "Did we really have to go?" You know, like we were pretty close to grabbing a paper and looking for jobs.
Bummed on the airport for sure. So tore the ranch, went to bed up before the sunrise so we could be out in blinds. Shooting time was 7:15 under Texas state conservation law, 7:15. 7:16, we heard the first shot.
Nice.
And we were so excited because the other two people in our group, John, if you're listening, love you so much. John has a very high caliber white collar job in Detroit, Michigan.
Stressful.
Very stressful. He's a very high ranking VP in IT. And he just wanted to do this.
Doesn't sound like he has much time to hunt.
No, and he had never hunted before, so he wanted to do it right.
Oh, what an amazing experience.
He wanted to do it right, and he wanted to learn it ethically. And then the second gentleman, Ray, if you're listening, we love you so much, had a hunting experience in his youth, which
less than desirable.
Was very less than
I can see it in your
desirable.
eyes, yeah.
It was very unfortunate, and it took him a while to open up about that because it really changed him.
Yeah, there's some
Things
you hide in your gut on things like that. Yep.
Didn't have the mentors.
And he's a dad now, and he wanted to provide. He's from Texas, so he wanted to do this for himself and to provide for his family. So when we heard that shot at 7:16, we were like, "Oh my gosh, is that John or Ray?" And like phones came out, and we started texting. And we were so happy, and we could barely see because it was before we turned the clocks back. We could barely see, but we knew there was a group of 8 deer in front of us. But we just couldn't see. At around 7:20, it was light enough to see 8 bucks.
And you're in a blind.
They were in an elevated blind.
Elevated blind, okay.
And it's just you two?
Four of us. We had Jeremiah was with us. And because the other guides, Leroy, the ranch owner, was with John and Alex. God, Alex, if you're listening, we love you so much. Alex left another high-paying, amazing West Coast software job and just worked at the ranch.
Wow.
Which is like even more why Will and I are like ready to quit our lives.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to come back.
Yeah, it was dangerously close. So Alex was in the blind with Ray, and when the sun came up, we realized they were 8 bucks.
So we're
like when in the world could you see that?
This is a non-trophy hunt. There's like, you're not there. You're there to learn the whole process.
Leroy has
you don't want
strict.
One guy coming back, with a big buck and another guy feeling bombed.
And he has strict conservation management. I mean, he knows the count of his doe. He knows the count of his buck. He knows the ages of them.
Those guys live it, right.
So we saw these 8 buck, and I mean, when else are you going to see that? Literally, the rest of the whole day catfish was like a nature-gasm.
I bet.
Thankfully, in the morning, we were able to harvest the first doe. Will took a phenomenal shot, dropped her right away.
Nice.
No tracking. Then we went in and learned the initial part of the field dressing, and then we went back out to try to get the second doe because we were allowed to get 2 because there were 2 of us there. So we harvested the second doe. And at that point in time, it was right as the sun was setting, and the sun sets pretty quickly. And that was another big learning for me, is literally how little daylight that you have. So he hit her. He did a great shot. It was absolutely a fatal shot, but she did have enough adrenaline to sprint.
It's a fast bullet, so it punches a hole, which does little damage to the meat, which is good.
Right. And
so it would run a little bit.
She sprinted, and we immediately got out of the...
It just gets really thick. It's mesquite wooded
cactus
areas and cactus.
So in 2 hops, you can't see her.
In 2 hops, you can't see her.
Right.
So we did an initial search, and it just got too dark.
Truck
and then
came. They went back. They got the dog.
they got little Naja.
Oh yeah,
Little
Cool.
itty bitty Naja.
I see that there's a lot of dogs on this property.
8-pound Naja, who like the second she made it in the truck was like game.
She has one job on the ranch, and
that's her job.
She knows it,
That
too.
is her. That's what they all know their jobs. Every single one of
It's
the
awesome.
40-some dogs on that ranch.
What
know
breed of
their
dog
job.
is this? I'm sorry.
Naja
Little
was
tiny
a
dog.
mix.
Yeah, a little
She was
mix,
8
like a little
pounds.
tiny, like toy fox terrier kind of ish.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the best.
Yeah. So she gets
Hard
in the
to keep
truck
up with.
and she puts her little paws
yeah.
out the window. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing and what she's there to do. He stops the truck, gets her out of the truck, and Leroy's not a small man. Okay. Leroy's a decent sized adult being drugged by an 8-pound Naja. She finds that deer instantly, and it was only 15 feet from where Will shot her.
Right. Yeah.
But you just couldn't see it. I mean, it's just so thick.
She ran 40 yards. She
Four-
ran-
40 yards?
It seemed really quick, but she ran 40 yards. But they were bringing her back out of the woods.
That's nothing to that little dog.
No.
Nothing. And then she got
there's-
to ride in the
here's-
back of the truck with it.
Here's what really impresses me about those dogs like that. Like, you're on a ranch with lots of other animals.
I was just going to say that.
Oh, go ahead.
Deer everywhere. Deer
Well, we
everywhere.
think alike.
Yeah.
I was like, how did it find that deer?
How'd she know that was the one she had to find?
No clue.
No.
Deer everywhere. You know what I mean?
But she sat proud as punch in the truck bed.
What did she do real quick when she found the deer? Like, they all have little...
I don't even know.
They
It
have
happened
little
so
ex-
fast.
like-
we didn't.
It happened so fast. Like we
I
didn't even-
wanted to be in there with snakes and stuff like that. I did.
Oh yeah.
but you wouldn't even have had time. You did
But
start
literally,
to walk,
I started to walk in
and then
because
we're
I
packing
needed to
around.
be in there
and they were packing
and
her out.
start to look, and I needed to look for blood. But like they were pulling her out.
That's it.
I can just see this dog sitting on the deer,
She
like
was
with
amazing.
his chest up, going, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, she just
was amazing.
yeah she laid right next to the deer on the way back in the truck. It was stupid.
Amazing
It was
It
success.
was her
fun.
trophy. Like
That's
he was,
cool.
Leroy was like, she needs to ride in the back because that's her reward.
Right.
Like that's her, is she gets to ride with the trophy.
That's cool.
So John was the one that took the shot at 7:16, and Ray ended up taking a shot that morning. So we have 4 does, which is great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So then the butchering class.
So we cook in the evenings.
we cook every evening.
Yeah, we cook every evening, and we cooked access because we didn't have the first night because we didn't have
Oh, you got the access deer.
access to it.
Yeah, that when we landed after the tour of the ranch, we had access deer, which was, oh my word.
Yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can get your hands on access deer, do it.
Yes.
And then
Then we woke
you've
up
seen
and
some of our
hunted.
pictures and look in the Instagram and stuff like that. To cook like that is to start straight up gourmet,
Straight up gourmet.
and then the next day we start
hunt.
the butchering.
Yeah, so the next day we hunted and then we hung the deer and we learned the skinning and the gutting techniques. Where
Now, this is first thing next morning type of stuff.
this is actually still the hunt day.
really?
Saturday.
Yeah, this
Okay,
is
I'm
still
sorry, go
this
ahead.
is still
Yeah, we
Saturday,
got that
which is
hot-
the hunt
yeah.
day.
We got the hides off, and then you
got the
put
hides
them in the
off.
cooler for cold crashing.
Yeah, you just you let them rest overnight. So I learned to gut and skin, and I learned to check sort of telltale signs if your deer is healthy or not. Jeremiah is very big on even just because you harvest the animal doesn't mean that the animal is necessarily safe for you to eat. So a lot of the butchering techniques he taught us was to preserve the guts so that they're not contaminating meat and you have
Correct.
less waste.
Sure, I get that.
A lot of other techniques he was teaching us was to check the health of the deer. So the last thing we checked the caul fat to make sure and for those of you that don't know what caul fat is, it's this beautiful, edible, sinewy sort of layer of skin that the digestive system of the deer sits in. It sort of cradles.
Well, you're going to have to teach me that because I don't even know that.
Yeah, it's like a membrane, for lack of a better word, that cradles the deer's guts, and it's totally edible. And you can wrap it around a roast. You can wrap around it. It acts like bacon fat.
Yeah.
It is how it acts. If that is clear and glassy and soft and supple, you've got a healthy deer.
I believe I've seen that,
Yeah,
but I just didn't know it was edible. So
absolutely.
I
Can
can't
use
wait to learn for some of this stuff.
So
sausage
much.
casings, everything. And then the last check actually the second to the last check we did was the liver, and he taught us the two hemispheres of the liver. The one is the bile liver that you have to dispose of because that's putting the bile and the enzymes in to make the digestion work. But then the other 2/3 of it, you have to first run your thumbs down it, make sure it's soft, silky, wet, and not dry, rough, bumpy, or lumpy, even coloration, low spotting, and a really deep purple color. And
the detection of disease.
That's right. If all of that is healthy according to those terms, then you're okay.
You're looking at a good deer.
You're looking at a good deer. The very last check we did was the tongue, just to make sure. Like he said, like,
I mean, who doesn't check a deer tongue?
who doesn't check the deer tongue?
If you're listening to this to Jeremiah, I mean, who doesn't check a deer tongue?
Listen, if the liver's clean, you're pretty good. But like, kind of your last check is the tongue. And again, the same thing you're looking for on a
Makes
human
sense.
tongue.
My doctor looks at my tongue all the time.
That's
I don't know
right.
what he's doing.
Whatever looks weird, like if you get in there, just don't chance it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If it looks bad, there's a reason. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If it looks,
And a lot of smelling, like we had to use our sense of smell a lot. He's like, I want you to smell the intestines. What does that smell like? It should smell like the food that they were eating. So I'm like, oh my God, you're right.
Really?
This intestine and this stomach smelled like corn, sodium, iron, and like a spice that I couldn't identify, but it was a grassy spice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a tarragon or something.
get
He's like,
that.
you should be smelling that. You should not be smelling rot. You should not be smelling anything spoiled.
Sure.
Like it should still smell relatively like the earth.
Foodish.
I'm
Yeah.
starting to get where you're going, where this guy's intelligent.
Oh my God, he couldn't turn it off. Like he
He hides it behind a beard.
hides it behind the beard. So, also while we're gutting and skinning, you know, there's all these bus tubs where he's like, you've got to save that. You've got to save that. You got to save that. And he said, we're not going to do intestines this time, but 100% edible.
yeah, this is what you can do. You know, so every
like-
step of the way, this is what
Yeah.
you can do with it. This is what you know.
And this is total 101 hands-on. You're doing it with him. Your hands are
No
bloody.
one touched that deer but me and my knife.
That's what I was asking.
He stood behind me the whole time, and Will stood on the other side of me the whole time. But I was required to do it all.
I love that.
Nice.
That's what I wanted to make sure that like, he
Absolutely.
wasn't doing it, explaining it.
No.
Because if you don't physically do it
can
yourself, you
zone
don't
out.
get it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I love that.
There was no zoning out on this trip. You were full bore.
Yeah. I mean, from 4 a.m. until 10:30 at night. I mean, you were.
Oh man.
So what happens when you break this deer down? Like,
So we hung it after we skinned it and gut it, and then we went in and before we did that and we hung it, we learned our first butchering technique. And when I was growing up, Dad, I love you so much. And you taught me everything I know about butchering, and that was roast pile, burger grind pile, steak pile.
is there anything else
Is there anything else?
other than the backstraps and the preachers and the fish?
That goes in the steak pile, absolutely. So that's all. Those are the 3 cuts that I knew. And so Jeremiah looks at us and he says, "Okay, we're now going to French out
What?
the back straps for dinner."
Who does that?
And I was like, well, I knew what French out meant just
Absolutely.
because obsessed with cooking. But I'm like, how in the world are we going to do this on a deer? So he taught us the method of Frenching out the ribs. Ray and John Frenched out 3 for themselves. Will and I Frenched out 6 because there's 2 of us to cook for. Walked it in the house.
So that means the ribs are still connected to the backstrap people.
I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you, Catfish.
That's what makes it Frenched out.
That's what French out means is the bone is still connected to the chop.
So the picture you had a
It looks
picture
like a
of
little
something.
tomahawk.
It looks like a little
Yeah,
tomahawk
that was the backstrap on
with the rib
attached.
on the rib meat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry to mean to do
Man.
that.
Thank
No,
you.
it's funny.
Because like we
It's
just
cool.
yeah.
So we
I've
w-
never done that.
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I've never done it.
So we walk into the house, and now, mind you, it's like 6 o'clock now at night, and we're all like, we've been up since 4 a.m. And he's like, "All right, get out the cutting boards." Cooking lesson starts.
Real quick, this is the first time that it has not been a hunting or fishing story that I've been on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
like
really?
it's a cooking
Well, that's
story, and I'm on the edge of my seat.
I'm
I
so
can't take
glad.
it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he's like, "Okay, get out your cutting board and get out your knives." And by the way, he had so many amazing sponsors. We used Weston Cutlery the entire time.
I was
That
going to
is
ask about the
a
knives later.
Western Products, Havilon was there.
beautiful
Like,
set of cutlery, Havilon knives. Jeremiah is designing his own knife that I was allowed to use the whole time. I don't think we can talk about it yet, but
he's got like
We'll have them here in this
We
house.
will have them here in this house. It was a beautiful.
So I will get one eventually when Leanna falls asleep. Take it out of the drawer.
Yeah, he's got like chef knives. Like he's got that that those super high end chef knives.
Super nice.
So we have these bone-in, these Frenched out chops, and he said, okay, now it's time to remove the rib meat. But remember, we're not going to waste that rib meat. We're going to save it because it's a meatball. His mantra is save it. That's another meatball.
I love that.
So whatever you cut off the deer, it just goes in the grind pile, and we'll figure it out later.
No, I can kind of get that. We do that. Like when I butcher with Logan, he gets frustrated sometimes when he leaves and I'm still picking because that goes in the grind powder. So I get that.
Yeah, I mean it can add up. He said that one side of the ribs can be a half a pound of meat.
Oh sure,
I get that. So we learned the Frenching out technique where you scrape the knife and to get the bone really beautiful, and then out came the pots and pans on this gorgeous commercial cooktop. We're cooking.
Is this where your head blew up?
And this is where thank God I was exhausted because I might have geeked out way more, but I was really exhausted. And, we're cooking and the smells, fragrant, fresh garlic. And the man nothing's written down. So he's literally making this recipe up on the fly and he's trying to tell it to us, but like Ray's stopping him. He's like, is that a quarter cup? And Jeremiah's like, I don't know. And John's
actually
like,
he has it. But he's going to send us everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's just not enough time to, to write everything down and like we're
you can't slow
cooking
him
at
down.
9 o'clock at night.
Like he's in the middle of cooking it.
I understand that a little bit.
Yeah. So we get all the recipes and everything.
And we'll make sure
that's
we
part of
post
it.
them.
Yeah.
So we did the beautiful tomahawk chop with a demi glaze, wild mushrooms,
I'm so
green
hungry right now.
beans tossed in bacon, and a little bit of the roasted vegetables from the demi glaze.
And this is night one.
At 10:30 at night, we ended up eating dinner.
This is the night you decided not to come home, not the last night. I think.
Probably, yeah.
Beautiful glasses of wine. It was wonderful. And then in the morning, we woke up and we had access deer left over that he made for chilaquiles for breakfast.
I don't know what that is.
Beautiful Mexican. I made you huevos rancheros.
Oh yeah, it's totally different.
That night,
I guess.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Chilaquiles.
Chili waquiles are much different. than
Chilaquiles
huevos.
is great.
Terry.
And I had just gotten back from Mexico on a business trip the week before. So I was like, oh my God, I love chilaquiles. So anyway, we wake up day 2. We have the chilaquiles with the leftover access deer and venison.
Yeah.
And we immediately went into the butcher shop.
Right.
So we were up by 6 o'clock and in the butcher shop by 7 a.m. And that's where the true butchering master class began.
Day 2.
This is day 2.
Okay.
So the animals were hung and they had rested overnight in the cooler. And he said, okay, step 1, shoulders.
Well, I was just going to ask, what does a master butcher do with the front shoulders?
So step 1 was shoulders. We went out, we brought them both in. About 3.5 hours later, we were done butchering the shoulders. I'm not kidding. Like
The
that's
front
how
shoulders are the
meticulous-
hardest thing to, if you're not going to burger everything, that's the toughest thing.
And that's the beauty of it, Catfish. Burger is the last thing you should be getting from a shoulder.
I didn't think that on a front shoulder.
Right.
Yeah. So there's 5 muscle groups that help hold that shoulder onto the deer. One of them is tenderloin that you just would never know.
Sure.
Until a master butcher tells you. There's a beautiful cut on the other side of the scapula that is, listeners, if you're used to this in the grocery store, a flank steak. Mm-hmm. It's just like this beautiful flat thin. And he said, a couple of things I like to do with this. This can be your fajita meat, sliced up real thin, or you can roulade this and stuff it with feta cheese, a sprig of rosemary, dates, almonds. So as he's saying this, I am feverishly writing on the vacuum seal bag. Okay, Jeremiah said, this is fajita meat. Cook at 350 on Traeger with cumin, paprika, rock salt. And this he said to roulade. So as he's teaching you the cuts, he's also imparting recipes.
That's cool.
And I think one
His
of the
brain's
most...
a computer.
It's a computer.
Yeah,
It's an outdoor hunting computer.
We said it earlier.
He's the Google.
There's 3 pounds of meat when we do it,
roast, burger, and steak.
And steak.
That's it.
And this is like next level. Every every muscle,
Mm-hmm.
every steak, everything that you pull off has a plate, has a predetermined meal with it.
And I think that
it
was
just, that was mind blowing.
And that was our biggest learning was when we process deer, write the meal immediately on the bag. Because when you're left with...
If you know what to do.
If you know what to do. If you're left with like a roast pile, a burger pile, and a steak pile, that's really all your mind can go.
Yeah.
So now that when we butcher, like when Will brings home his deer next time and we butcher it, I'm going to be writing on the bag, this is ossobuco. This is going to be Frenched out chops. This is going to be roulade. This is going to be ball roast, which actually you can treat like brisket. It has the exact same properties. Like it's just
you can. That's also
it's
you can
mind-blowing.
roast beef that.
You could roast beef it. You could do it, turn it into a hash. You could thinly slice it and dry it for jerky.
His mind's amazing.
He couldn't turn it off.
Like, how did he? Is there a book somewhere that he read that said there's
a couple
He is
things.
fighting me on that. He's
One of the
fighting me on
things is
writing his book.
He was with a dude. He said his name, but he was like a pork butcher.
Yeah.
You know, he spent hours and hours with this one guy who just,
So he did it the old-fashioned way
Old-fashioned,
through
yeah.
hard knocks, just getting in there.
Every so often in the hunting and like world, an icon comes around that has to take their entire life for somebody to notice them. Fred Bear.
right.
If people would have recognized his brilliance in the very beginning and followed him from scratch, the archery world would have
that much
been,
further
been,
ahead.
been 100
yeah.
years ahead of time. And it sounds to me like in our time, Jeremiah's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't like to say dudes are cool. So
He never says
Dudes
that.
are
He
cool.
has such a hard time giving that information.
3 hours on the shoulder. We spent about another 2 hours on what I would call organ cleanup and the ribs and the spinal column and the neck meat. There is precious meat on that neck.
it's hard to get off.
Hard to get off, but so worth it. And we did hip bone dissection and neck bone dissection for stock.
So
And bone marrow if we wanted to do like a bone marrow appetizer.
it went, and this is how far it went. So we can, it went as far as to pull out dog bones, like dog treats, like
Right,
things
yeah.
that you can pull off and roast like a trachea
Yeah.
for your
And
dog.
he did.
I saw
He
a
roasted
picture
the
of that.
4 doe trachea.
It's just
I have butchered with many people in Penn. There's a lot of great guys that butcher deer.
Yeah.
Fast guys. Good guys, fast guys, some wasteful guys. I've seen guys throw neck meat away. It's too time consuming. I don't want to deal with it.
We got some beautiful cuts off the neck meat. But let me tell you this, Catfish, you mentioned fast. So while I'm telling you 3 hours on the shoulder, 2 hours on the ribs, another 3 hours on the legs, Jeremiah can break that down and have the exact same amount of waste in only 10 minutes.
Because he knows
Yeah.
that's practice.
So I want to
on
tell
what
you
his
that
techniques are. Yeah,
you
right.
don't have to spend that kind of time. You just have to make choices
Right.
about how you want to process.
once
your
you
deer.
learn it, and once you learn it, then you can start to
It's
improve
just
your
a set of
speed.
choices.
Here's the thing that I really am happy. Like you took something that you saw in your younger life that was maybe kind of a setback, like as far as butchering went, like Lacey was like at it first too with deer, like I don't really want to help you. Bring it upstairs, I'll wrap it. To now, it's an art.
Now I
And
can't wait.
Yes, now you
Now I'm
want
like, how
to do it.
how does Will save me the heart?
Right.
You know.
No.
So you got to be pretty excited to try this with a Pennsylvania deer, right?
I'm so excited.
Is she like waking you up in the morning to tell you to go to your stand?
She's very aggressive.
So then that night, after all of that butchering and all of that vacuum sealing and all of that recipe writing, he's like, let's go to the duck pond. So everybody went out and shot ducks, and we had this duck butchering lesson. I mean, the guy can't turn it off.
He mentioned something to me on Facebook about plucking instead of skinning. And,
He
something.
said, listen, there's 3 ways people usually process a duck. Now listen, I love duck. Oh my God, Sammy P, if you were listening,
Duck candy.
Your duck candy. I mean, it's life changing. He's like the number one way people dress a duck is the breast out method, and he showed us. And he had 3 ducks lined up for us in the kitchen. The second method is the skinning and plucking method, where it's just like it sounds. You're ripping and pulling the feathers until you depuck
Correct.
the bird. And then the third method is paraffin wax dipping,
I like the sound of that.
where you take the bird, and he
I
said
bet.
and he said his 7-year-old and his 5-year-old daughter do this before school. They're the ones that-
Mention what it's called again.
it's called paraffin wax dipping. And what it is
It's just like getting
In a
like a
large-
wax.
Making a duck candle.
that's right. Deke, somebody called Deke.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I love you, David Kyle. It's like you sit a stock pot on the stove and you fill it up with 5 quarts of water to 1 brick of paraffin. And I mean, you can buy paraffin at any craft
I don't know
store.
what that is.
It's just
a
it's just
wax.
healthy.
Okay.
It's just food grade wax.
Okay.
Did you ever do vampire lips at Halloween?
I don't remember.
That's paraffin wax.
Okay. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, or like a bottle, like those bottle candies. That
Yeah,
are
yeah.
I
you
love
bite
those
the top off.
things.
Paraffin wax is when you get a cone dipped in chocolate, like it's made up of paraffin wax.
So he's putting that in the water and bringing it to a
That's right.
simmer? Or?
No, just warm. Just,
Okay,
just so that the
okay.
wax
Just to
melts.
melt.
Okay.
You have to be able to touch the water, so you don't want it too
Sure,
warm.
sure.
So he dips the duck 5 or 6 times, and every time you dip it, there adds a new layer
Another coat.
of wax. And then he just starts at the neck, and he just starts peeling the wax down, and everything comes.
Oh,
in
The
yeah.
wax.
feathers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Everything.
All
Really?
the feathers, the down, everything comes off.
Everything.
So, I mean, we flash turkeys in boiling water, and to be able to pluck them is 1,000 times easier.
Yeah. That's just same thing, only
Exact
they add
same,
the wax.
except, and you're not boiling. You're just
I love it.
getting
Yeah.
I love it.
So he said, take a look at this duck compared to the skinned or to the plucked and skinned, which it was still bigger than the plucked and skinned because you still have some waste when you pluck and skin compared to the breast out method. And he says, you're getting everything. You're getting the duck fat. You're getting the confit. You can find the liver. You can saute the heart. Like
Right.
and you can smell the duck. What has it been eating? You should be able to see grass in its belly. You should be able to see corn in its gullet. You should be able to see all that. If not, you don't have a healthy duck.
I need him to teach me to do geese. You know, they take me so long to take the whole goose out.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, call catfish.
Yeah. You know, and a lot of guys just breast geese out. You know, I like to take the whole bird, so it looks like an elongated chicken that's dark colored, but it takes me a long time.
Yeah.
So
And then he's like, okay, let's cook this for dinner as well too. And again, remember it's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. It's more cooking.
We're still cooking the steaks and and
Wow.
we're writing this duck recipe down, which again doesn't have a recipe because he's just winging it, literally. Irony.
What's that?
no pun intended.
Oh shoot.
It's a shaking.
It's a shaking.
So then anyway, we cooked and we woke up the next day and we boarded the flight and we came home
It's time for the better the hunt.
begrudgingly. Like, one flew out. Maybe that's the one I'll pick.
27, 24.
Hold on, we got a call. Just in time.
Caller.
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, is this Rutten River?
Hey.
Is this Randy Stoppenhagen?
Well, yes, it is. How did you know?
It come up on my phone.
Brother Randy.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey,
You're
Catfish,
calling.
how you doing?
I missed you, boss. What's up?
Just sitting out here in my warehouse.
You're calling just in time for the better the hunt topic hat, and we're just getting ready to draw the topic.
Perfect timing.
Ain't that something?
Hey, hey. Who was that wisecrack from?
Which one? Stevie's here, and Catfish is here, and Leanna's
Hey,
here.
Randy, love the beard.
Oh, hey, thank you. Yeah, it's very young. It's in its young infancy
Hey, a
stage.
young beard is better than no beard.
Hey, thank you.
I hear that.
I understand that completely, Randy. Mine's taking its good old time coming back.
It's come back pretty quick, though. I can't believe. I mean, there was a
It's not Spartan yet, but it's coming.
right.
Looks great, Catfish.
Well, we'll see what mine looks like by Harrisburg. So
I can't wait to see you in February, boss. It's going to be a good time.
I know.
We'll
I'm looking forward to it as always.
Some of us will see you at ATA.
Ooh, so good deal.
Yeah. Stevie,
So, have you figured out who's coming?
DK and Kyle.
Oh, nice. All
Yeah.
right.
Stevie literally was just shaking the topic hat. That's good
Yeah.
timing.
It was perfect timing.
We had to make them stop. We had to make them stop shaking it to answer the phone.
Yeah, my arm's getting tired.
We just drew the topic.
Yeah, Leanna's was just getting ready to.
So here's the topic, Randy. It's tips for cold weather hunting. And I said, well, here you go. Here's your tip. Wake up and say goodbye to your husband. Fall back asleep. Wake up 3 hours later. Make yourself a cup of hot cocoa, wrap up in a blanket by the fire, and watch a lot of football.
And I'm gonna take Leanna's.
That's how I stay warm during those cold weather hunts, Randy.
I'm so gonna do that this year and look at Lacey and be like, "Get out in the deer stand. I'm staying in."
Well, hey, your cold weather's coming, isn't it?
It's this weekend.
It actually is dropping as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's going to start snowing here in Wisconsin.
It's miser weather.
It's dropping in the 30s here at night. So when you get up to go hunting in the morning, it can be 30, 35, 40 when you're in stand in the morning.
Randy's like, I call that August.
Yeah.
That's short sleeve weather.
I hear that. So
go ahead.
You know, something that I like to do whenever it's kind of super obvious is just layers, layers and layers and layers whenever it starts to dip down. So
I see the cases of hot hands and hot toes that also come into the house.
There are cases of it. I should have
cases
stock
of
or something.
Put them in your pockets and
yeah.
Well, out here when I whitetail hunt, it's usually minus 26. And I'm a big enough guy that hiking up into the mountains up where my stand is, I'll still sweat really bad. So,
jeez.
What?
That's insane.
I know it is. Well, it is. It's terrible.
Are you two cousins?
So say it in unison.
So what I do is I'll have I wear a silk long underwear first. Come on,
Randy. I'm a married woman. Come on now.
Go on.
It does feel good.
We gotta learn. We gotta learn from the master. Give it all to us.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I have my silk long underwear because it wicks away the moisture real quick, and it does have a lot of good heat retention to it. And then I have a heavier woven high tech. I forget what they call it, but it's a really high tech. It also wicks away the moisture, but it really retains the heat. And then I wear, because it's windy a lot, I'll wear Cabela's makes it. It's called Microtex.
Yeah.
It's got wind shear in it. And anyway, I'll get out and get up in a tree with it. And but walking in, I sweat like a pig. So I'll have my bottoms on, and then I have the top, and then I have just a button-up shirt, and I'll walk in probably a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, just wearing that. And I'll have my vest and my coat on my pack. And then once I get up in the tree and I start feel like I'm cooling down, then I put my vest on. Then eventually I'll put my coat on, and I can sit there all day in minus 26. As long as I can get that sweat out away from me,
right,
I'm good to go. But boy, a couple times I walked in all bundled up, and I paid for it dearly.
Oh, yeah. You do it wrong.
Yeah, I've worn neoprenes. We hunt geese in below zero weather here in Pennsylvania, and I've worn neoprenes, so you sweat nose anyhow. Neoprene chest waders, and then you get out there early in the morning and you're setting dozens and dozens of decoys everywhere, and you're conflicted whether it should face east or west. It doesn't really matter, but you're fidgeting with decoys forever, and then daylight comes and you climb in a layout and you're laying on the ground, and all of a sudden you realize I'm soaking wet, and you're not drying out under that neoprene, and there's just really, you can be cold, but cold and wet's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
Randy, I was trying to keep count there while you were going through it. We're 5 layers there on the top?
Well, actually, I have on the silk. Then I have on the next heavier synthetic,
right.
And then I have a button-up Microtex shirt. And then I'll have a vest. And the vest is really nice because sometimes it'll warm up. It seems like it's warming up anyway, but it'll be like 0 or 10. and actually I'll take my coat off and hang my coat back up, and then I'll just be in a vest, and it keeps the main trunk of your body nice and warm. But then my arms are a little bit freer than they are in my coat.
Right.
But then, I have my coat. So that's 5 layers. And then my lower half, I just have 3 layers.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they wear too tight of boots.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, same concept for snow skiing. If you put too many socks in that boot and that boot gets too tight,
I don't understand.
Your blood's not flowing.
Well, you can't wiggle your toes.
You can't wiggle your toes. You can't keep the blood flowing.
Right.
I never thought of that.
Well, and the other thing is,
You like
most
a tight
guys,
shoe?
most guys and gals
Like a
will
geisha.
wear their
Like a geisha.
a geisha.
I like a tight
bundle.
shoe like a geisha.
Oh, bundle your feet.
Yeah.
You cannot have a serious conversation with you people.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. No, but
Can't believe you called expecting to have a serious conversation.
Yeah, that's on you, Randy.
Step 1.
hey, I got a quick question. Today I saw that killer post with Uncle Buck sitting there with the water behind him, and he's in that boat.
Yeah. We have a great time, and there's sea duck hunts are coming up soon. And that boat was actually fishing with Captain Jimmy up in Sodas Point, Ontario.
Okay.
Or New York.
The minute I saw it, I thought of Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah, right? Right.
The Old Man in the Sea.
Yeah. That's okay. He won't
The
listen.
Edmund Fitzgerald.
He won't be listening to this, so I'm sure he won't. No.
Really?
No, he listens to everyone.
Bummer.
I'm just kidding.
I thought he meant the one with Captain Mark. That's
Yeah. That one was, when he's on the boat, there's a couple
It's
where
a sea
he's,
duck hunt,
yeah, that's what I thought at first, but it's the one with at the back of the Diamond J.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool. That's something that the layers, and then, if it's wet, we'll usually, make sure you have a waterproof and windproof.
I do a lot to protect my face when it's windy and cold.
Mm-hmm.
I normally wear something up over my nose, and sometimes just breathing the warm air back inside the gaiter or whatever you have can keep
Blows it right back into you.
Yeah. It makes it a little tough to breathe for the first couple minutes to get used to it, but once you get used to it, it has a little extra like feeling of comfort that you have some warm air. I don't know if that's a thing, but you definitely have to keep your head covered up good. But I have more trouble later in life now with my feet getting cold.
Yeah.
And my hands getting cold than I ever have in my life. And I don't know if that's age, being 37 sucks.
It does.
Your
It's
hands
tough.
are similar to that concept of, you layers for one, but then you want it open, like
I don't know. I can't stand, like, your feet are one thing. You're walking, you're on stand, or whatever, but when you have to use a rifle, you got to use your crossbow. When I'm hunting geese and I'm trying to fly, like putting shells in a shotgun after you shoot 3 off.
Right.
I have to use my hands. If they're not warm, you're done.
Right.
Well, we got something coming down the pike for you.
Really?
Just yeah.
Nice.
So
seriously, for the guy that's out there.
Is that just a teaser for us, or we can't talk about it, or?
Well, it's going to be it's going to be revealed at ATA.
I was going to say, here it comes.
Now I got to go to ATA.
Well, and the reason why, because it's going to be it's going to have a patent pending on it.
Oh,
but
wow.
it is.
We won't tell.
Yeah.
Except this is it's being recorded. That's what Nixon said. We won't say
so that's something interesting. So what is it? What's it applying to? Is it a muff or?
It'll work on a rifle.
Oh,
it'll
wow.
work on a shotgun.
Goodness gracious! Well,
and
I'm all over it. You're going to be like the first stand I go to. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I
can tell you we do have one product. It's not patentable and it's going to be out there. But when I did the shows, everybody was like, great, you solved my bow hand, but what about my release hand?
Oh,
So we now have a mitt for your release hand.
really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So, goodness gracious. This is new.
Yes.
This is
And
like can we say this is an R2 exclusive? Or
It
you,
is.
You probably
It
been
actually-
telling
it
everybody,
really
calling
is.
all the podcasts. I get it.
No. You are seriously. You're the first to know.
Wow.
No, you really are. I mean, now if it was patentable, I wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Sure. But this
So
this is something that goes hand in hand. And if, the topic hat is actually the better the hunt topic hat. And what we're always talking about is the bow mitt. Now you're saying there's another hand cover for your release hand.
The bow mitts.
So you have
Right.
it's a pair now. You're going to be, this is total comfort system for bow hunters in the cold weather.
Yep. I mean, you'll be able to, a lot of guys and gals will wear a thin pair of gloves, but from the minute you get out of your truck, you put your hand on your bow, it's protected. You put your hand in the release mitt, you walk out, clip your bow, climb up into your stand. Both of your hands are protected nice and warm. The minute that deer shows up, your hand's still been protected on the bow, still protected. Your release is protected from the elements. And when that deer shows up, you just rotate your hand out of that mitt and then clip your release on, take the shot, rotate your hand back in the mitt. Everybody's happy. Everybody's nice and warm.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I have to honestly tell you, one of the flaws with me of going late season archery hunting is like the baby in me going, I don't want to get my hands frozen.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't grow up like you. When it's cold here in Pennsylvania, it's only below 0. It's not 27, but it's hunting in those conditions in archery season can be brutal if that shot opportunity comes and you're not comfortable enough to take the shot.
Right.
That can be a mind game too, whether or not you can take an ethical, clean shot. So that's a game changer to have your hands warm.
I can't take how your brain works, man. Yeah, you're one of those special dudes that it can't turn it off. You're always thinking,
I know.
Well, I appreciate that, but you know what it comes from? It comes from sitting in a tree when it's minus 26 and going, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
My hands are freezing. I need to warm my hands up.
Yeah.
And like my grunt tube. Okay, some guys will use a lanyard or they'll hang it from their bow hanger. But I've always liked to have mine in my coat pocket because it's a little bit warmer in there. It doesn't tend to freeze up. But what happens is I've already got my hand with my release in that same pocket because my other hand is on my bow. So when I go to pull my hand out, what happens, or what has happened before, the grunt tube comes out, hits the stand on its way to the ground, and the hunt's over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And why not keep that pocket available for your grunt tube or whatever else you want to put in there, your honey buns or whatever, sticky buns, or whatever you guys eat.
Yeah, I told you I like how you think.
If the string wasn't getting away, I was hoping you were going to make like a harmonica holder grunt call. Those guys that do like the metal wire braces looking thing.
Yeah.
But you can't shoot your bow with it. So
Wouldn't you
that could be painful.
a honey bun holder?
yes, the honey bun holder pocket is a must, Randy.
Well, I'm just trying to think long term here, and it's like if I can free that pocket up to put some snacks in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But yet, and you're not fighting with gloves. You're not trying to get a glove off, and then it falls to the ground, and then there's just a lot of stuff that happens. And if you can eliminate some of those problems, and the hunter can be more comfortable in the stand, to me that's a win-win for everybody.
I'll tell you what.
Sure. Randy, is the mitt for the release hand available now?
No, unfortunately. I mean, we were under the gun to get my shipment of mitts that just came in, and then because I went out this summer and did that about month and a half little tour, I went and did some shows this summer. we were behind. We had designed it, and then we sent it off, and then the prototypes are coming back, and the ones that we sewed up and tried, they were awesome. But
cool.
With the factory, you've got to get prototypes and fine tune it and get it all dialed in. But they'll be available when I go out on the road and do all these shows. Like when I come to Harrisburg, I'll have them.
Okay. So not long.
No. But this fall online, unfortunately, I just can't get them fast enough. So.
Yeah, no problem.
You got to work harder, Randy. It's not like you actually do anything.
No. I'll get on it. I'm sorry. I'm slacking.
If people don't know Randy, he puts about 10,000 miles on his truck or 40,000 miles on his truck in a month.
A month. Yeah. I do. You're one of the hardest working guys I know. I absolutely appreciate it. I think we did the topic hat a little bit of justice here.
I mean, how can you not when you have the podfather of the topic hat on the line?
Mr. Better the Hunt.
Mr. Better the Hunt himself.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, I like that title.
It's
the Podfather. That's nice. I appreciate that.
And, you know what? Randy's not past all that. You know, on a personal level, he's such a soul of the earth.
Don't get too personal.
I'm just.
He'll send you some silky underwear.
I don't like to say dudes are cool or anything, but he
never says that.
He has a hard time with that.
If you run into Randy up at the Great American Outdoor Show and it seems like people kind of go from booth to booth quickly and like small talk and you don't ever remember it, blah, blah, blah. Stop and talk to Randy.
He's got a gravity about him.
It's absolutely.
Gravity.
Well,
you're like Toretto.
Are you saying I'm heavy?
No, I'm not saying you have a gravitational pull.
He's saying you're super cool to talk to and hard to get away from because you're so cool to talk to.
Oh. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like Toretto.
I love talking to you guys. I mean, I feel so much better. I'm laughing. This is good. I mean, just talking to you guys it recharges my batteries.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime.
Hey, Randy, how about letting listeners know where they can find you and find the Bowmit?
Betterthehunt.com is where you can go to the website. We also now Better the Hunt. Yeah, Better the Hunt has a YouTube channel.
Nice.
Cool.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah, that just started.
Another R2 exclusive.
You heard it here first again.
Well, that's true. You're the first ones. We just have. There's so many videos out there that, like, when you guys have interviewed me and other people have interviewed me, so we're consolidating those and we're getting them all on my YouTube channel.
Perfect.
And then there's some videos I've done. So there's that. But one thing I do want to let your listeners know, I mean, there's a sale that's ending this Sunday, and I'm not here to promote the sale, but you can go see it online. But after the sale, for the Rutten River people, there's going to be a promo code from now through the end of the year.
Oh, buddy.
And you go to Better the Hunt and type in Rut, capital R, lowercase UT, and then capital R, lowercase the rest of River, Rut River 20.
Perfect.
You can get 20% off the insulated mitt. Now, now, because of the sale we're running, the mitt is actually cheaper right now than that 20%. But once that sale's off, if somebody 3 weeks from now is like, gosh, dang it, I should have got that mitt, just use Rut River 20 and get 20% off the mitt.
Holy buckets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you guys have been so nice to me. And I mean, you're nice to me when I roll into Harrisburg, plus you're nice to me at other times too.
Stop it.
I know. I don't want to tear up right now, but
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
Oh, golly. But no, you guys are awesome, and I want your listeners to have an opportunity to experience what a lot of people are now experiencing, and that's a better time out in the stand instead of suffering.
Right.
You know, now they can sit there in comfort and enjoy the hunt, and when the moment comes, they can concentrate on the shot instead of how bad their hand used to hurt before.
No.
That's one thing that's eliminated. So
Totally
thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you for calling, Randy. Guys, where can they find us?
At betterthehunt.com.
Oh,
I love it. You can find us at RuttenRiverPursuits.com. You can find us at Rutten River Pursuits Podcast on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram at Rutten River Pursuits. Follow us individually. You can R2 Buck. Look at him. By the time this comes out, hopefully you will see some amazing work from Mr. Buck.
Hopefully.
Or the Bucky.
We're all pulling for you, Bucky.
Yes.
Yeah, he's at his special trip at Heartwood Outdoors.
Can't
donated
wait.
a archery deer hunt for him, and that is now happening this week. So
absolutely,
the next couple, we're going to get to hear a lot more from that.
Download us
Thank you,
wherever
guys.
you listen to your podcasts.
Yes.
Apple, Google Play, Stitcher,
and
Castbox.
And
Podcasts made me hungry. I wish I had a snack.
Yes, I do too. What's that word that you used earlier? The long word that I didn't understand.
Osabuku.
Yeah, that thing.
I'm going to call it Awesome Buko.
Awesome buku.
There we go.
I need some awesome buku.
You know what else?
But
you
if
could try?
if you couldn't get the Aso Buko, what could you get?
Let's go to mfjerky.com, Moses Family Jerky, and grab.
Teriyaki.
Is that your favorite?
I have to say.
Crack pepper.
I like the black pepper as well.
We're a black pepper house.
Sweet and
Teriyaki.
spicy.
Can I give like a little unsung hero plug?
I guess.
For the team at the MF Jerky. Get their coffee.
Coffee is so good.
When we were down at the ranch at Texas, they French press. When you French press the MF Jerky coffee, specifically pecan roast or pecan, whatever you're into,
Yeah.
game changer.
Really?
You attack the day.
Yeah.
You attack the day.
So I don't
what I'm
know.
talking
I don't
about.
really drink coffee. I just throw the teriyaki jerky in hot water and get rolling.
that's your coffee, man.
Use promo code Jerky Pursuits 15
That's
for 15% off.
The entire
What,
website.
the jerky
Everything.
stuff?
No, not just the jerky stuff, Bubby. Everything on the website.
What?
Everything.
I ain't lying.
Thank you so
Check it
much
out.
to Jeremiah Doughty from Field to Plate 101. He's a great follow on Instagram at From Field to Plate.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Trash Panda Quiver.
I need a honey bun warmer. Just like a
I'll
side.
have my manufacturer make a special pocket on the outside.
Just slip your honey bun in.
Yeah.
Other than the guy was like the perfect cooking match for you.
Exactly.
Will, I'm not picking on you, but
Yeah.
we got
No.
to start cooking. Because
Will did cook.
No, it was.
did you cook?
Oh, he did.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump
He
in.
absolutely
it got
did.
a little scary. He doesn't look unlike me.
That's what I was
The-
wondering.
The saving grace here is that he's got about 6 inches on Will. That's
Yeah.
like the saving height wise.
But he's
So what I do is I'll have I wear a silk long underwear first. Come on.
Randy, I'm a
does
married
feel good,
woman.
though.
Come on now.
Go on.
It does feel good.
we gotta
It
learn.
does feel good.
We gotta learn from the master. Give it all to us.
Yeah.